Well, good evening everybody, on a Sunday evening, from a very sunny evening I might say, in the south of France, down in Marseille, where I have been visiting to carry out a few English proficiency assessments, as I often do, or have been able to do again for the last couple of months. And I thought what we would do is perhaps move on to the fourth criterion in the ICAO table, which is that of fluency. So, as we did for the three previous criteria, we'll first read what it says in the ICAO table in terms of fluency. And what ICAO say in terms of fluency, in order to achieve a level 6, is the person is able to speak at length with a natural, effortless flow, varies speech for stylistic effect, to emphasize a point, for example, uses appropriate discourse markers and connectors spontaneously. So, essentially, what that means in practice is that you are able to keep on talking and link your sentences together without too much difficulty. Now, one of the very common errors that learners of English for aviation make is that they equate speaking fast with speaking fluently. And speaking fast and speaking fluently are two entirely different things. Now, generally when people speak very fast in a foreign language, it's generally for one of two reasons. The first is that they don't want to stand out as a non-native speaker, and they want to kind of mask any kind of shortcomings they might have in terms of their language skills. Or secondly, it's just because they are used to working in an environment with native English speakers, and they've heard native speakers speaking very fast, and they've made the assumption that by speaking as fast as that, they will be understood as well as a native speaker might be. In reality, the situation is very different. Now, why is it different? It's different because, particularly when we're in an aviation environment, what we're looking for is communication. We're not looking for a kind of a style of language. We're not looking to show off how well we speak the language. What we're looking to do is communicate clearly with people from a wide variety of backgrounds. And again, this is really the key aim of all aviation English proficiency, is that we can communicate clearly. So whereas pronunciation, structure, and vocabulary are the tools by which we express ourselves, I have an idea in my head. Pronunciation, structure, and vocabulary are going to allow me to transfer that idea into a sentence, but it's fluency that is going to allow me to get that message from my brain to my mouth with a minimum of hesitation. Now, ICAO actually recommends that you should speak with a speech rate of about 100 words per minute, which is more or less what I'm doing at the moment. So I'm not speaking too fast and I'm not speaking too slowly. However, if I start to speak too slowly and start to use fillers like this breaks down the communication because it is not as spontaneous. And if I start speaking really, really fast like this, like I used to do when I come from a town, well, the town where I come from in the south of England called Gosport is a place where people talk a lot like this, and they talk really, really fast between each other. And because when you're talking between native speakers, you can get away with speaking really, really fast. But when you're speaking to non-native speakers and you're speaking in an international environment, there is absolutely no reason whatsoever to speak extremely fast. So fluency is, on the one hand, being able to maintain your speech flow, but on the other hand, being able to speak at a speed that is appropriate for the people that you are communicating with. And another very common error that non-native speakers of English make is that they try to, shall we say, run before they can walk. When you hear native speakers of English speaking very, 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 very fast, they can get away with that because they have grown up with that language, and they can speak very, very fast without the way they construct the sentences being broken down. However, if a non-native speaker tries to do this, particularly somebody who is learning English before they've mastered the proper pronunciation of all the words that they need to be able to pronounce, it's just going to cause the clarity of their speech really to break down. So what is very, very important as an aviation English learner is really first to focus on getting the structure in place, getting the correct pronunciation in place, even if it means in the beginning you have to speak slower. I don't care if somebody speaks slowly. What I want is somebody who communicates clearly. And it doesn't matter if you speak at 200 miles an hour if I can't understand a word that you're saying. So really focus on articulating every single little sound, making sure that everything is absolutely clear. And once that is in place, then you can start to speak a little bit faster. But the faster you speak, the more you need to articulate, because I can speak fast, but I can also articulate a lot more and focus a lot more on the sounds. So that's also very, very important. So the faster you speak, the more your articulation becomes important. And I'm going to share something also with you in this video, which I've never really shared or talked about publicly, which is that I, for many years, suffered from stuttering. When I was a teenager and in my early 20s, I had real difficulty being able to speak fluidly in certain situations, particularly when I was tired and when I was stressed. So in all the languages that I use, dat kan wel ook in het Nederlands zijn, of sinon en français c'est pareil. What I try to do is, if I'm feeling a bit stressed, or if I feel that I'm starting to block in my speech, I will actually articulate even more, and perhaps even myself as a native speaker of English, speak even a little bit slower and perhaps over-articulate. But for me, that is a way to get over the kind of language block that I sometimes experience in certain situations when I get into a bit of a stuttering crisis. So to summarize, focus first on articulating clearly and constructing your sentences in the correct way. And as you get better at that, then you can perhaps start to speak a little bit faster, bearing in mind that speaking at 200 miles an hour really, really fast helps absolutely nobody. So again, the watchword in everything that we're doing is communication. If nobody understands you, it doesn't matter how fast you speak. In any case, thank you very much for listening. I hope you found this video useful, and I will speak to you all again very soon. Bye-bye.